Hello, Laziali all over the world. Welcome to another episode of Lazio Lounge. I'm back, guys. I'm back after a week missing. I'm back.
Ooh.
Shall I stop here? Well, I'm upset about what happened yesterday. I saw the highlights like 3 times, and it's just pissed me off more than last night. Honestly, um, it was a good performance from the team, Alistair McKenzie. What's most disappointing is the result, right? Two easy goals, two mistakes, and Napoli won the match.
Yes, very disappointing. Yeah, I mean, I just want to say before we start talking about the football, because quite a lot's happened in the world since our last podcast, and I just want to say that I don't know how many Ukrainian listeners we've got, but want to send our love and support to any that are out there, because it's really incredible what's been happening in the last week or so. So just wanted to get that out of the way first. But anyway, the Lazio, it's the same thing, I guess, as the Porto match, which we've not talked about yet either. It was kind of a good performance in almost every facet, apart from the individual defensive mistakes that cost you and the inability to finish off the chances that are created. And in this case, it's especially painful, I think, because of the manner of the last minute equalizer followed by the immediate conceded again. And they haven't really been coming in this match. So it's hard to know exactly where to start when we're discussing a defeat like this, I guess.
Yes, again, I thought first half was great from Lazio, and we were talking there because unfortunately you got to see the ticket next to me yesterday, so I had a very bad company last night, which didn't help. And we were saying after the first half, great performance from Lazio, but in a match against a big team like Napoli, you have to take your chances. And Lazio had like 4 or 5 huge chances in the first half, and we didn't score. And you could see it coming, right? You can see it happening in the second half. Napoli play a little bit better, create some more chances, and find the way to score, thanks to Patrick. But you could see that was happening, right?
Yeah, and one of the pieces I read after this game was essentially made the point, which I think is essentially the absolute center of all this season, really, for Lazio, is that, Patrick may have defended Osimhen pretty well for an hour, but he's still Patrick. And, Husai can come on and kind of shore up your defense for a bit, but he's still Husai. And it's essentially this kind of thing where the actual quality of the individuals, especially in defense, it's going to cost you. And I think we said this around January, around the start of the season. If you don't have a certain level of quality in defense, you're going to lose points over the season. And I don't want to put the entire blame of the match on any individual, but I think that essentially what it comes down to is the team almost has to account for that happening by overperforming at the other end of the pitch. And a lot of this season, Lazio kind of have overperformed at the other end of the pitch. Ciro has been incredible. Lazio got the second best attack in the league after Inter. Pedro's scored an extraordinary goal yesterday, but we kind of need to counteract the inevitable errors at the other end for almost to score 2 or 3 goals in every match. And that's just not a sustainable situation to be in.
No, I agree with you. And a little bit what happened against Porto, right? We made 2 mistakes. The penalty was a mistake from Milinkovic Savic. Again, the second goal of Porto was far too easy. And again, big team it's hard to recover, right? When you concede 2 goals, it's tough to come out with a point. You can do it against Spezia, Cagliari, but against Napoli, Porto, it's really, really complicated. One thing positive we can take from this is this year, Lazio have always struggled a lot after playing in the Europa League. This was probably the best performance after Thursday night. Now, this is going to be the last time Lazio will have to cope with that, but at least that was encouraging, right, Alasdair?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of weird because I think all of the last, I'm just looking at the form guide here, and it's not good. Since this Milan, the 4-0 Milan defeat, we managed to get that win against Bologna, but since then, lost to Porto, draw with Udinese, draw with Porto, lost to Napoli. But those 4 games, Lazio haven't won any of them. But after every single match, one of the takeaways has been, well, actually the performance has been all right. Even the Udinese game, the performance, considering the absences, considering the travel and the European game, performance was actually not bad at all in that match, which is something we were talking about after that. And so I don't know. I guess that is encouraging to a certain extent, that we do have reason to believe, I think, that from now until the end of the season, Lazio can build. I mean, I kind of wrote a piece about this after Porto knocked us out of Europa League, that Sarri's kind of got to put his money where his mouth is now, because he has talked openly about the fact that without the Europa League, we'd be in the Champions League places. I need more time. We avoid these defensive mistakes more if we have more time to work on them. Well, now he's got to prove that, because looking at the Serie A fixture list, there's not even a midweek round between now and the end of the season. So there will be a full week every time now. And I'm not saying Lazio are going to go and win every match from now until the end of the season. But if you consider we've taken 5 points from 24 after European games, the only win being against Salernitana, that is shocking. I mean, all the heaviest defeats of the season, the Napoli one, Bologna and Verona, they've all been directly after European games. So it's not a coincidence. It can't be a coincidence. No. But my point is, he has to prove this now. It's one thing saying it, but now Lazio have to show that it's real.
Yeah. 2 questions I have for you. Do you think Lazio have still a chance to reach the 4th place, the Champions League position, or is it too late? And I saw a huge improvement. You talk about the other match Lazio played against Napoli. That was a horrendous defeat, 4-0. Lazio really didn't have a chance. Compared to this match, we have to say there has been a huge improvement. So that's the positive sign. But do you think, I mean, how many matches are missing? The derby is coming in 20 days? We don't have, I mean, after that, we have Roma, we have Sassuolo at home, Milan at home, Juventus away. That's pretty much all the tough matches of the season till the end. Do you think we have a chance to go to the Champions League?
I think the gap is 7 points now, I think. Let me just double check that.
And Atalanta has 1 game on hand as well.
Yeah, the gap's 7 to Juve, and if Atalanta win both their games, they'll also be 7 points ahead. So realistically, I think we've probably left ourselves a bit too much to do, because there's only 11 games left. It's amazing that we're even still talking about it, because I haven't had much faith all season long. The only slight doubt in my mind now is, I think as Lazio fans, we should probably be wanting Juve to get through against Villarreal, because I think the Champions League is such an obsession for that club that they will put all their energy into it. And I'm still, people have got quite overexcited about Vlahovic, and he's an incredible player, a game changer for them. But he can't do it all himself, and it's not a very good team besides Vlahovic. So I think essentially what it comes down to for me is Lazio just need to be within striking distance of Juve before that game. It's the penultimate round, I think, the Juventus match. If they can get themselves in a position where they're just striking distance away, then you never know. But I think the gap is probably too big.
Yeah. It's true that having a week to prepare, it's a big advantage. But we have to see even the other teams if they will have a full week to prepare this match going forward. One thing I wanted to point out, Alasdair, I thought both in the Porto match and against Napoli, what missed was the quality of our top players. We were talking about Luis Alberto yesterday. He missed huge chances against Porto, and yesterday against Napoli, the first biggest chance Lazio had was with Luis Alberto, and that was a huge chance. We cannot afford to miss those chances, especially when it happened when a top player like Luis Alberto have those chances, right?
Yeah, I actually went looking for the expected goals for this game, which I don't usually do, but I thought it'd be an interesting one. And apparently it was 1.43 for Lazio, so there or thereabouts, and for Napoli 0.85. So it's kind of like Napoli overperforming and Lazio underperforming, and I just think that you can forgive it a little bit, but Alberto's missed so many chances in these last two games. There's just something not quite there. The coolness, the composure, and I don't know. I'm not really sure how to feel about Alberto this season. It's been a real roller coaster, one way or another, between Sarri's comments about him, between being left out of the team, going back in the team, his form going up and down. And it's interesting. Yesterday, I didn't even realize, I think, for the first 5 minutes or so, but that he was playing as the regista in that team for the last wee while. And I kind of wonder if that's what is that? What do we read into this? Do you think that's something that's a plan going forward, or is this just in the moment? Let's surprise them.
Well, it was surprising, honestly, and as you were mentioning, I didn't realize it, and we were hoping this summer, right, that could be Luis Alberto position going forward. Instead, Sarri said there couldn't be a chance. I was surprised because Cataldi scored the equalizer against Porto, so I mean he's not coming off a bad match, so it was surprising not seeing coming in. Maybe that's one of the reasons why we conceded the second goal, having Luis Alberto there. No?
Yeah, it might be a bit harsh. I mean, you could read into it, if you're wanting to be positive, that Lazio forced Napoli to score great goals for both their goals. I mean, obviously they got more time in those positions than we would like them to, but you're still asking a player to provide an incredibly accurate shot in order to beat Strakosha from those positions. So the defense wasn't being carved apart or anything, at least. I think it has improved. Structurally, Lazio seem to have improved. The balance seems to be better between defense and attack. In previous times, it seemed either that the team was so focused on defense and structure that they weren't really creating any chances, or they were creating so many chances that the defense was falling to pieces. So I feel like he's getting a bit more of a balance there. But this comment from Hardo's, he's right. With this low quality defense, it's so hard to be in the top four. Which goes back to what I was saying at the start. I don't think it's sustainable to have a squad where you basically have to legislate for conceding 1 or 2 goals in every game because of who you've got there.
And we improved a lot comparing to the beginning of the season, right? Because we were in the first half of the season conceding far too many goals. Now we find a way to be better. And it's funny because in the last couple of matches, Patrick has been far better than Luis Felipe. Yesterday was probably the only match in the last month or so where Luis Felipe played better than Patrick, which is not a great thing, but it's still a sign. Radu starting, I thought, again, that was a surprise, but I thought Radu had a good match. Maruzic didn't do anything particular. So, it's down to personal mistakes. Patrick one cost us a lot. And again, we have to mention that Strakosha made another couple of good saves. He made 3 or 4 against Porto. and another couple against Napoli yesterday. So, yeah, it's really down to two stupid mistakes, I think.
Are you going to need a separate podcast to talk about Di Bello's refereeing yesterday, or?
Yeah, probably. I mean, Sarri said it. Zaccagni was fouled from the first to the last minute of the match, and nobody got a yellow card. I thought that was embarrassing. I watched again the offside of Insigne, and it was clear, and the linesman didn't do nothing. That's embarrassing. There's the foul on Ciro Immobile on a counter-attack of Lazio. He left the ball, he passed the ball, and I don't know who, Mario Rui or someone else, brought him down. No yellow card. Insigne running 20 meters to complain to the ref for the goal disallowed. No yellow card. Ciro Immobile protesting for a foul, and he gets a yellow card. I think there is something wrong with Di Bello against Lazio, and someone should do something about it, because I don't think Lazio lost because of Di Bello, but definitely he didn't help.
Yeah, I mean, I did also read about the fact that, well, some of the Moviola has said that Napoli should have had a penalty for handball, which I completely missed. But apparently, Luis Felipe, there was a situation there as well. So, yeah, I know Lazio fans aren't happy with him, and that he's got a history of this. But I've also seen the point made, which I think is probably fair, that he's a very experienced referee. He's done over 100 games, I think. And but he seems to lose his head a bit in big matches. It's kind of the losing control thing. I think that's what people have problems with yesterday, is that it didn't really feel like he had control of that game.
No.
It was a toss of a coin whether he was going to blow a foul, whether he was going to book players, what he was going to do. It seemed there wasn't much consistency, and the players didn't seem to have huge respect for him in their reactions to his decisions. So I think that could be said of probably quite a lot of referees, and it's always a talking point. But yeah, I wanted to bring it up because you were not happy, let's say.
No, as usual, I would add, but I wasn't really happy even about Felipe Anderson's performance. Again, he started strong, and then he pretty much finished too early. And one point I want to make is that we create a lot of chances, but most of them is Ciro Immobile against two defenders, which is quite complicated, especially when you're playing against a great defense like Napoli's one. We need more help from the wingers, and Felipe Anderson tend to be out of the box too often. Zaccagni as well. We need someone who can get in the box, help Ciro Immobile, and create space for our number 17.
Yeah, I think I made the point to you yesterday, where it seems like all our three wingers, Anderson, Zaccagni, and Pedro, have had moments in this season where they've been in really good form, but they rarely seem to overlap with their good form, where we've got kind of two or more of them playing brilliantly exactly the same time. And it was kind of like that yesterday, when Pedro came on, I turned to you and I said, he's not been great recently, Pedro. And then he comes on, he has that effort, great save from Ospina, and then he scores one of the goals of the season. So, yeah, who am I to say what kind of a player Pedro is? But yes, it is a bit frustrating that we can't seem to have everyone on the top of their game at the same time. But I guess it's good that there are these different options in that role, and Cabral there now as well, obviously. But yeah, Ciro, I mean, it's been crazy really seeing the difference it makes to the team over the last two games. I know we've got a draw and a defeat in those two games, but Lazio just looked a lot more dangerous, a lot more, what's the word? I mean, I guess a lot more kind of animated, a lot more motivated when he's there. I think he's more of a captain than you might expect, maybe, because he came back from injury probably with the fire in his belly, because he hates not playing. So he comes back, and he was, the first half of that Porto game, he was everywhere, sprinting around the pitch, creating chances, making movements. And I think that rubs off on the players as well. But I mean, he's an incredible player. He's a once in a lifetime Lazio striker, probably. But But even so, it seems like there's this, like you say, a bit. The dependence thing is still there. It's still an issue.
Talking about that, we didn't talk about Cabral, and in particular what Sarri said after the Porto match, because in the second half, Sarri brought in Raul Moro, who I thought had a good game against Porto, and not Cabral. And he's been asked about that, and he said, well, I think Cabral is not a winger. He's more a number 9. Which was for me a big surprise, because he played as a winger in Sporting, etc. And at the beginning, when we signed him, Sarri said, well, he's a winger. I don't know if he can play number 9. And now after, what was it, a couple of weeks, he completely changed his mind. What's going on? What's your take on this?
I think he's got like an earpiece with Iglitare saying, okay, Maurizio, you have to say he's a number 9. He's the Vice Mobile we've always been looking for. Thank you to the club for signing him.
What a great transfer market.
The best ever, you might say.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Cabral thing has been quite confusing from start to finish, to say the least. The videos that he wasn't in, and the confusion over his role, and Sarri saying he didn't know who he was. And I think the good thing is, the main positive is that he does look like a good player. I mean, he looks like a decent player. It's not a complete disaster of a move by the looks of things. But yeah, I think it's just as well that he can play through the middle. I was saying in the podcast that you missed, when I had my opportunity to shine in the host's chair, I was saying then that he doesn't really look like a number 9 in the way he was finishing. I mean, you're basing this on like one game essentially, so maybe it's a bit harsh, but he seemed more comfortable, perhaps, trying to beat players or in the wide positions, and he was kind of just trying to get the ball on target. So we'll see. I mean, it's good to have an option compared to no option, but I'm not convinced that he's a natural striker.
Talking about natural strikers, Alasdair, this weekend, Dennis Vavro scored from a free kick. Escalante scored. Tuncara, maybe fans will remember him, scored. I mean, what's going on?
I mean, it's one of these things. It's like annoying now in retrospect that I feel like I should have put a lot of money on this happening. Vedat Murici to score on his debut, Vavro to score. I mean, as well, a free kick from 25 yards or something.
Yeah.
When was the last time we scored a direct free kick?
I don't remember.
Honestly, can't remember.
Yeah.
So yeah. It's a bit depressing. I guess that Lazio's a good club to sign players off, because they'll turn up and be extremely motivated to prove a point that they can actually play football after being ignored for 18 months.
I would say the only positive thing is that Lukaku is injured again. What a surprise.
Is he? I did not see that.
Yeah, he's not playing. He just signed for Vicenza and then got immediately injured. He's out 20 days. So those things didn't change, at least.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So I think that just looking ahead for a second, Cagliari away was a game that maybe a few weeks ago I thought, okay, once we're through that Napoli game, no European games left, that's the start of a good run. But Cagliari away is now looking like a bit of a problem. I mean, they're on a really good run at the moment. It might have gone a bit under the radar, but I had a look at it. Unbeaten in 5. They've beaten Atalanta, beat Torino on the other day, drew with Napoli. I mean, it's going to play Cagliari side coached by Mazzari away is not going to be that easy, but surely this is exactly the kind of game that Lazio have to win to, try and trigger this this improvement, try and trigger this run to the end of the season that we really need.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's funny how Cagliari found their way. They beat Torino away yesterday, so that was a surprising result. The draw against Napoli, so it's incredible. But they found the form exactly in time for playing against Lazio. I mean, that's totally makes sense, right? It's typical for Lazio. It's going to be a complicated match. The positive thing is we should be recovering more players. I don't think Lazzari will be back, but Acerbi that came in the second half yesterday should be starting. So I think Patrick will be benched again, maybe. So yeah, that would be a positive sign, I think, going forward. But it's a complicated match, definitely, and it always has been, right? Playing against Cagliari away, we always struggle there.
Interesting yesterday. I don't know if I don't know if this is something that you can pick up on from the TV or not, but Acerbi's introduction, lots of chants against him from the Curva Nord, lots of opposition from other parts of the stadium booing the chants from the Curva Nord. So
we booed.
Yeah, we were both booing them. It's interesting though. It's been a while because he got injured since this whole. If anyone's forgotten his cup tier celebration to the Curva, which was we said at the time pretty stupid and unnecessary, but it's not that big a deal. But it's just it seems to me a bit crazy for this to turn into a thing towards the end of the season. The fans being divided, one of your own players being booed, and especially our best defender who we desperately need. Do you think this is going to be an on-running issue, or will they just shut up eventually?
I fear so. And this could be another issue going forward. Unfortunately, the Curva Nord is very, how can I say, tend to do these stupid things, right? They tend to boo our players. I remember Morici was booed. Isai as well was booed yesterday when he was when he came in. So unfortunately, we should be cheering our players till they play with our shirt, and then you can do whatever you want. But booing when they play for Lazio, it's a stupid mistake, and Curva Nord tend to do this thing. And Acerbi is an experienced player, so I don't think he will be much affected from this. But I wouldn't be surprised if this summer he would ask to leave.
Yeah, exactly. Me neither. Why wouldn't you if your own fans have turned against you? I mean, and they haven't. I think that's what we learned from yesterday. It's the fans in general haven't turned against him. It's the same old thing, though, isn't it? It's the Curva thing's one thing, and everyone else thinks something else. So, I just it's an irritating problem to have considering all the other problems that we've got on the pitch. But yeah, I agree. I think that'd be a huge boost going to Cagliari if he can be in the team. And yeah, I mean it's massive. It's a much bigger game than I think it looks on paper, just because of what it means for Lazio's ability to be involved in this race, in this top four race, if it's still a race at all.
Well, even for the Europa League, I mean, we have to win because at the moment we're seventh. So, we're out of everything pretty much. So we need to win. We need to get back some points to recover. Roma passed us yesterday. So, Fiorentina is behind us or above. Yeah, Fiorentina is 1 point behind us with one match on hand. So, it's a difficult situation and we need to win because in the last 5, we won just 2. So we're not coming out a very good situation. And I think, Alasdair, we didn't mention this, but we're still there more because the other team has been struggling. I mean, Atalanta in the last 5 matches haven't won 1. They lost 2, draw 3. Juventus just won 2 with Vlahovic signing. Inter won just 1 match in the last 5. Roma as well, 2 matches won. All the other teams are slowing down. That's why we're still there. But if the season ended today, which, anything could happen with the war going on, we will be out of everything. And could be an advantage for next year, thinking about Sarri playing only once a week, but it would be a bad result for the team this season, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Yeah, of course it would. But at the same time, I think the point's been raised. I think it was raised last week actually, and we didn't get around to talking about it. But sixth place is now a Conference League place, and considering the issues we've had with European games and crowds, even for Europa League, I can't imagine the Conference League would bring in many people. And so, I think people do start to have that conversation. Is it better to finish sixth and be in the Conference League, or is it better to finish out of Europe and next season be able to, focus properly on Serie A and building more under Sarri? It is a question. I mean, I think for me, the answer to that entirely depends on what kind of a squad he's given in the summer, because if they give him enough ammunition to actually tackle 3 competitions, then absolutely. But they can't give him the same kind of squad they've given him this year.
Yeah, I fear that if we qualify for the Conference League, it would be only the Campaniles family at the stadium.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's not going to be a huge day for the ticket office. I mean, it wasn't yesterday. We haven't mentioned that. Really disappointing.
Yeah.
The crowd was poor yesterday. And for a big home game against Napoli, that's pretty inexplicable for me.
Yeah. To reply to Hardos, that is always following us live, I think we can get better. I think we had sign of improvement. Now we have to finish it. We have to capitalize all the chances we create and avoid making stupid mistakes in defense. And again, as Leach say, we didn't play badly at all. I thought we played better than Napoli. Only like Porto, again, I repeat, like Porto, they took the chances. They had less chances than us, but they took them. And obviously, Insigne scored the first goal of the season on a live action, not on a penalty against us. That's obviously. I thought it was even the first goal away he scored. I'm not surprised. But, they took the chances. Big teams take the chances. If Lazio want to become a big team, you cannot have 8 chances against Napoli and score only 1. You have to score at least 2 or 3 goals. So I think this is the biggest issue. I think playing, I thought Lazio played better than Napoli, probably even better than Porto. So we have to finish those chances. Again, a couple of times yesterday, Milinkovic-Savic tried to do too many things inside the box instead of shooting and trying to score. He tried to do cute things while we are still drawing or we were losing. You have to score, then you can do whatever you want, back heels, etc. Right?
Yeah, and I think the progress thing is interesting because it's all we've talked about all season is the progress and under Sarri and how close is he getting and so on. And it becomes a bit tiresome, but I think now it's pretty clear because you've got easy landmarks to see the progress, whether it's the performances in the Europa League against Porto, who are a much better team than anyone we played in the groups. But
Definitely.
we played a lot better in those games than any of the, we only won 2 games in the groups against Lokomotiv. And I don't think, as far as I remember, I can't remember Lazio being even that impressive in those games they won, let alone the rest of them. And then the Serie A games afterwards, it's gone from a 4-0 defeat against Napoli to a game we feel like we should have at least drawn. So I think progress is there to see. I would like to think, some of the football Lazio have been playing, the Alberto chance in the first half yesterday, for example, they're putting together some really, really nice football. And I would like to think that we're just on the brink of this explosion of Lazio suddenly being an unplayable team. Because I think all the pieces are there and we've seen all the signs, but it's just been too fractured, it's too fragmented, and it's never kind of all come together at once. So I think we're all waiting for that one game where everything works for Lazio. All the best parts of those passing moves, their danger and attack, and their improved structure and defense all comes together at once for a complete performance. Because I think that's the one thing missing. It would be great if that came in the derby, but we'll see.
I like your optimism. I think we can wrap it up here with your positive sign, which is surprising, knowing that you are quite the pessimist in the group. But thanks again, Alasdair, for joining us.
Non riesco a connettermi.
Thanks,
Continuo a provare.
Okay, Alexa wanted to say the.
Non riesco a connettermi.
Okay.
Continuo a provare.
What?
It's just such a smooth ending here.
Yep, Alexa wanted to join as well. So thanks again for everybody for listening to us. Remember, you can follow us on Spreaker, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you tend to listen to our podcast. You can support us at Patreon, patreon.com/Lazio Lounge. And we'll be back Monday because there's not any match this in Europe, right, for Lazio. So, yeah, we have a week of rest pretty much.
Yeah, well, we're the same, aren't we? It's now we've got a full week to prepare for each podcast. So we know that they're all going to be, coming together. Enough of these fragmented moments of brilliance. It's going to be 100% podcasting every week.
Yeah, amazing podcast. Thank you again, guys. See you next Monday.